Hey, what's up, guys? So I'm back. We'll call this part two and the final. Well, I wouldn't say final Meps experience, but made it through Meps, made it through the medical. Let me tell you, it was fucking boring. I was there from 5 to about 5 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon. So I've heard of Meps experiences being much longer. So I'll consider myself lucky there. So we'll start from the beginning here. We got up. Wake up call was like 4:30 my time where I live. We had breakfast at the hotel. They put us on a bus and we were at the front door at Meps, standing in line by 5 a.m. So we got to Meps. We all got out there. Guy came out, had us stand in a single file line, and told us kind of an introductory welcome to Meps thing. Asked if we had any prohibited items on us or in our bags, any drug paraphernalia, any weapons of any kind, any explosives, anything that's just not supposed to be at Meps. Of course, no one did, so it's always a good thing. So first thing we did is we walked in, we went through a security check, and once you got through that, you put all of your stuff, cell phones, everything, backpack, everything you got, you put in this little room that's nothing but just storage for your crap. The only thing you really need to have on you, and I didn't even need to have it on me, so I just left it, was a social security card and an ID. But other than that, you don't really need anything else. So you got through that part, and they had us walk out of that room and take a right into the main lobby, they call it. And so first they had us go to our career branch liaison. For me, it was the Army. So I went in there. That's where I got my name tag. I signed my paper or what lunch I got to pick the sandwich I got for lunch. So and then from there, he kind of gave me a rundown, make sure I was wearing some decent looking clothes, because it is kind of like a job interview in a way, besides the physical medical side of it. So, he made sure I was, wearing underwear. Definitely wear underwear, and wear some nice clothes. No thong underwear. Can't wear thong underwear. So, he made sure I was wearing nice clothes to look presentable, look good. So from there, he sent me out to the main desk there, and reception, I think is what they call it, the reception desk. And from there, I was anytime you go into any new area, you scan out with your fingerprint, whichever finger you used. So that's how you check in and out of every station you're at. I got my packet of stuff. They sent me down to medical. The first thing we did in medical was a brief by the Meps commanding officer. He told us what to expect, what we're going to be doing, what Meps is all about. He, gave us the rundown. If you lie, fraudulent military enlistment, all that stuff, punishable by fines and dishonorable discharge, possibly prison time. So, he gave us a whole rundown. And then from there, we had I think it's like a physician's assistant, a male nurse came in. And he started going over a packet with us. It's just a bunch of paperwork at first. You're going to be in there for about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, just filling out paperwork, and they want to know everything. For me, it was pretty easy. I didn't need to fill out much paperwork, because I've literally given my recruiter, who then gave Meps, every single piece of medical history on me since 3 months after I was born. So they had everything. As far as medical goes, they had everything. Criminal goes, I'm not a criminal, but I do have a lot of traffic violations. I like to go fast. So, but other than that, I gave them anything and everything I ever had on me. So there wasn't much for me to fill out as far as that paperwork goes. It's funny is, I'm not sure exactly who it was, gentleman in ACUs came in, and I think he just randomly picked somebody, but he started yelling like, "Yo, you filled this paper out wrong. Snatch that paper up. Get the hell out of my room, blah, 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 blah," And he got out there, and come to find out later on after Meps, that was just kind of a scare tactic. The kid actually didn't fill out anything wrong. He just came in, randomly picked somebody, and just put on a show, so to speak, to scare the rest of us. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. I'm like, that sucks for that guy. He filled it out wrong. Guess shouldn't have done that. Pay attention. It didn't bug me one bit. Of course, I was the oldest one out of the 12 guys I went to Meps with. I was the old man. I'm 30 years old, and I was with a bunch of kids that were either still in high school or are just getting out of high school or have been out of high school for maybe a year. I mean, there wasn't anybody older than 19 besides me. I was literally the old man. So it was kind of cool in a way, because these kids were like, in a way, they were kind of looking up to me, asking me a bunch of questions and stuff. And I'm like, dude, I know about as much as you guys do as far as the military goes. I'm new to this too. So, but anyway, after that, they had us go out and sit in designated seats and everything. If you're going to take a drug test, you go in, you pee. Somebody watches you pee, whatever, it's just part of it. You pee. You give the cup to a gal in the window, you initial it, y'all initial, she watches you, you watch her initial, everything, make sure all your information's correct. That way no samples are getting mixed up. From there, I went and seen the doctor, because unfortunately for me, I have a bit of medical history. I had some broken bones, and I had some other things that we had to go over and discuss. Luckily though, it was all good, and I got through it and everything checked out just fine for me, so we're good to go there. After that, I was in his office with him for about an hour or so. I came back out and I was sitting around waiting. Next I peed. So some guys got to pee first. Unfortunately for me, I had to go sit and talk with Doc for about an hour and a half or so first, and then I came out and then I peed. From there, I did my blood pressure. They do your blood pressure. After that, I went into, I had my blood drawn. So they draw your blood. They ask you, hey, have you ever passed out, fainted, sight of blood, anything like that, lightheaded? And it's like, no. So yeah, and they drew my blood, not a big deal. From there, I went and did my hearing test. And let me tell you, on the hearing test, what they don't tell you is when you're in that soundproof booth and you put those headphones on, you can literally hear yourself breathing because it's so quiet. And when those headphones on, it's just so quiet. You can hear the pulse in your head and you can hear yourself breathing. So my advice for that, because I had to do it twice. Technically, I failed the hearing test by 5 decibels on one of the hertz levels the first time. And then I was talking to a couple kids that already went through the hearing test, and they, yeah, man, I literally could hear myself breathe. It was so quiet. And I'm like, really? So when I went and did it again, I literally, like, when it came to those really lower tones, those really low ones, those quiet ones, I was holding my breath to help me hear better, so I can hit that button every time I heard a beep, and no matter what ear it was in. So my advice for the hearing test, definitely when it gets to those lower tone sounds, fucking hold your breath, man, because you can literally, you breathing will cause you to not be able to hear some of those sounds unless you have really good hearing. So for me, I held my breath for a couple of them really low tones, and I clicked that button. It don't matter if you don't hear a sound, or if you hear a sound, it don't matter. If you think you heard a sound, click that button, because they're going to do different hertz, different frequencies, all kinds of different tones in each ear. And even if you think you heard a sound or you don't think you heard a sound, click that button. So after that, I passed it. I actually holding your breath actually worked for me, because then I passed the hearing test second time. So I made it down like 10 hertz, and so it can't be above 30, so you're good to go there. So I got out of there, and then when I was waiting, they had me go do my vision test. They basically, it's like when you go to get your driver's license. He asks you to put your head in the little thing, and your forehead turns the light on, and then you got to read the lines he tells you to read, letters and numbers, just like going to get your driver's license. And then after that, he flips through a book, tests your color vision, see if you're colorblind or not. And it's a bunch of numbers that are colored on a background that's a different color, and they're kind of broken up, so you got to just look at it and look at the picture as a whole, and then tell him the numbers. He flips through the pages. It might be different at different Meps, but this is how it was for me. From there, he took me to a different machine where you put your chin on it and you put your forehead against the thing, and then he has this little eyelet thing that goes between, it tests each eye, and you look at different colors, depth perception, you read different numbers and letters and stuff, and you do it in each eye. Past that, I have 20/20 vision, which is pretty good considering I'm 30 years old, so not bad. After that, I came out, and I was waiting to do the physical part of it, the part that everybody hates, While I was waiting for that, they sent me to go get lunch. I walked out there, I got my roast beef sandwich, a cookie, a bag of chips, and a bottle of water. Came back, ate it, chilled in the little briefing room, watched some TV for about an hour with two of these other guys that are going in the Marines. We just bullshitted, had a good time, sat there, chilled. We were the last three to go through physical, unfortunately. So, hey, somebody's got to be last, right? So we got in the physical. They had us stripped down to nothing but our fucking chonies. Three dudes standing there in their underwear. They had us do various exercises, moving our arms up and down and side to side, swinging them around, clenching, unclenching our toes, our fists, doing different jerking motions with your legs, your arms, testing your elbows. He had you squat down, different things like that. You have to walk on your heels, walk on your toes. You have to do a power walk from the corner of the room to the other corner room there and back. Doc's got to watch you do that. And then lastly, he had us do the infamous duck walk. Let me tell you, that duck walk, man, I'm so glad I don't got to do it again. But I passed, but it is you see, I practiced the duck walk a lot, but I always did it with shoes on, and I was usually on a wooden floor, so my feet slid, across that wood floor pretty nice, so it made it real easy. Well, when you get into that tile floor and you take your shoes off, you've been there for a few hours already. You might be a little nervous, you might be having a little bit of sweaty feet going on, but when your sweaty feet get on that tile floor, it gets a little sticky, so you really got to lift your feet and really do that duck walk and make sure you're doing it, because they're going to watch you. You're going to make sure you're doing it right. And you got to do it about 5 feet forward and then turn around and go back to where you started. But, the duck walk, it's hard, to, do. Just, I kept my arms out in front like this, the whole time while I was doing it. And worked for me, got through it. And then next, he had us do height weight tape. If you didn't make weight, he taped you, which I made the tape. I'm a little overweight, but I have really low body fat. So made tape, so I'm good to go there. Let's see what else. And did your height. Then after that, he told you to sit down and wait. So I sat down, and the doc called one of us in at a time. Once we got in the room, he that's I wouldn't say actually I'm gonna say that's probably worse than the duck walk, because then he checks your teeth, looks your mouth, look at your gums, look at everything. Checks your butthole, man. You got to spread them. Unfortunately, it's just part of the deal, dude. You got to spread them. He checks your butt. Then he checks all your junk, grabs each ball, and fucking turn your head and cough. And then that's the worst of it right there, is just that part of the physical. After that, you pull your chonies back up, and then he just a regular physical like you would get at a sports physical from then on. He listens to your heart, listens to you breathe, feels your stomach, looks at your your knees, looks at your ankles, looks at your feet. Does everything, checks out if you have major acne issues. That's apparently a thing they look for. I mean, whatever, but. It looks for cavities and different things in your teeth. He does another little vision test. Just follow the light without moving your head. Just move your eyes. Not a big deal. Let's see what else. He checks your stomach, presses around on your stomach. Feels around in there. Has you do some swallowing and stuff while he's putting different places on your neck. Pretty basic stuff. And then after that, I got out of there, got to get dressed, went back out in the reception area. Well, the lobby of the medical anyway. I handed them my stack of shit, and they put it all on the computer and everything, and I just sat there and waited some more. You're gonna do lots of waiting, man, so just be prepared for that. If you're in a recruitment process, you probably, unless you are 100% healthy, never been in the hospital, and they'll have no waivers, nothing, and then you went to a recruiter and left in a month, you should be used to waiting by now anyway. So a little more time ain't gonna kill you. So after that, they sent me out, and I turned my packet in to the front desk there, to the reception. They sent me back over to my Army liaison, and that's where I got to look over my contract, go over details, make sure everything that I was promised is there. Really read that contract. Make sure everything you and your recruiter talked about is in there. Your pay, your term of contract, how long you're going to be in, your job. I mean, everything. They talk to you about everything. That's more or less what you want to be kind of dressed nice for, is that part of it's considered like a job interview, But yeah, it's like you go over everything that you discussed, make sure everything is in writing, make sure everything you talked about is there before you sign that. And then once you sign that, at that point, he gave me a ship date. So for me, I'm on what's called the DEP program, DEP. So I have a specific date that I am leaving. You know, some guys, they were shipping out like the next day. Some guys are shipping out that day. It just depends on your MOS and everything. There's a lot of factors in it. So, but after that, they took us in a room where we got to go in and sit down for a minute, and they had another little viewing area, and that's where my wife and my mom were sitting. They watched me take my oath, swear in, you know, got to get pictures with my recruiter and the different things, you know. And that was really about it. You know, I know there's a lot of videos about Meps on here, and everybody's experience is a little different. For me, you know, I watched a lot of YouTube videos about Meps and talked to a lot of people I know that have been in the military, been through Meps, about it, trying to get, you know, some heads up. How was it? You know, is it really that scary? You know, it's really not that bad, at least for me. It was more or less just, the hardest part about it was just sitting around, you know, trying to stay awake because you're not doing anything and you're up super early and you're sitting doing nothing. So that was probably the hardest part for me, was just sitting around and doing nothing and trying to stay awake. You know, don't lie about anything. There's no need to lie. Just be honest, you know. That's the best thing you can do. Just be honest. But other than that, you know, Meps wasn't that bad. For me, anyway. I've heard people tell you, oh, it's the most worst thing you do. They grill you. They interrogate you. Good cop, bad cop. You know, it's like, for me, it really wasn't that bad. It was pretty simple. Everybody was pretty nice for the most part. You know, the only time they really raised their voice or got angry or anything is if you know, didn't have your papers in order, you didn't follow instructions to a T exactly how they said it. Other than that, it was pretty simple. You know, just listen, pay attention, you'll get through it just fine. Just expect a long day. But other than that, you know, it wasn't too bad. So that was my Meps experience. Like I said, everybody's a little different, you know, so I hope this helps anybody who might be thinking about joining the military, no matter what branch you're in. But other than that, man, I hope it helped. You guys take it easy. Later.